is so prepared. She has quizzes, she has food, she has giveaway. If only every author were like this, life would be, yeah, easier, right? So congratulations. Here we are again, because we were in this very spot when your first book, right over there, Off the Air, came out, right?
Yes. A little more than a year ago.
It was, yeah. So how does it feel with a sophomore? Oh, wait, I forgot to welcome Patrick. Are we live? Oh, good.
Were we, or were we just now live?
Didn't get an answer. Thank you all very much for coming out on a hot night to Christina's book launch and virtual audience. Thank you very much for joining us. You might be interested to know, those of you who aren't here very often, that the virtual audience numbers somewhere around 2,000 people. So we are not, yeah. And
Can we say hi to Stefania in Italy?
she may not be tuning in yet. And we were going to have dinner when I go to Florence next month, but then she had a family thing that came up. But I always try to, yeah, when Sulari was here yesterday, we had people from Australia who were tuning in to ask her questions. You know, there were very few things that were good about COVID, if anything, but the one thing that was good was Zoom. We managed to get Zoom at a moment when it allowed us to do wonderful things. So you're going to be reaching a larger audience tonight, but aren't you lucky that? And
Unfortunately, they won't get any of the frozen treats that we have here tonight.
Or the prizes. Yeah, bummer.
Or the word search.
Oh, well.
But we'll just have to wow them with our conversation, Barbara.
We will do that. So let me go back and ask you the question I started to ask, which was, how did it feel writing a second novel under pressure? Because you had forever to write. Well, that's true. The sophomore novel is always the hardest novel for anybody to write, because you had forever to write in secret even. You didn't even have to tell anybody that you were writing your first book, right?
Unless you're a dummy like me and you tell people and then it's 15 years before you're published. Then you regret telling people.
Well, yeah, right. But anyway, so under more pressure, did you find that the story flowed more easily? I mean, now you know who Jolene is. You knew who some of the other people are. You'd been through, the usual baptism of fire that a first-time author does. Was that inspiring or intimidating?
I loved the second time compared to the first time. Like, this whole process of launching the book week launch has been really exciting, versus the first time it was just terrifying.
Yes, you really were.
I know. You told me it'll be okay.
I know. I thought I would have to. There have been book launches here, Michael Connelly being one and Daniel Silva another, where I actually had to sit with my arm around them. They were so scared. They really were. And Michael's wife was out in the audience, and she kept going like this because he was like, and she was trying to get him to project. And instead, he thought that he needed to blow his nose because she kept doing it. And it upset him even more. We often talk about that, right? But
oh, my God, I'm going to cherish this moment that you put me in the same sentence as Michael Connelly. Yay.
I did, right? Well, you know what? He, too, was a reporter. So you do have that in common.
He had a first book too, yes.
Right.
And a book too.
Yeah. So, you've written a mystery. It's set here in Phoenix. And there's some, aside from the plot and the fact that there, is a crime to solve, or more than one, there's some really interesting issues that you have raised in the book. Which one do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the book and then the issues, or the issues and then the book?
Let's talk about just the book, set it up so people know when we're talking about the issues, maybe what we
mean.
All right.
So tell people what the story that wouldn't die in your practice pitch. What's it all about?
The pressure.
The pressure.
When a small business owner dies, my main character, Phoenix TV reporter Jolene Garcia, does not believe it was an accident, because he had been asking questions about who gets lucrative deals at City Hall. He was asking questions that powerful people do not want answered. The deeper Jolene digs, the more she uncovers. But someone is determined to kill the story, and maybe her.
That's pretty good. I like
Thank
that.
You.
Now, we should have a disclaimer right off the top that there are no actual Phoenix people in this story. They are fictional, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Well, no.
I'm trying. It's the lawyer in me is trying to save her right now with a disclaimer.
You know why? I think she's trying to save me because I recently had a career change, and so this book, as I mentioned, has a large theme. It's centered a lot around City Hall, and I, about 4 months ago, left reporting and took a job as the communications director for Phoenix Vice Mayor Ann O'Brien. So this book is was written long before I even considered the position, but it's been very interesting chatter around work about whether it's fiction or not. So thank you, Barbara. It absolutely is fiction. But I do want to point out something real actually happened that I opened the book with, which is the mayor of Phoenix got stuck in the elevator at City Hall. That happened about 8 or 9 years ago. My mayor is not that mayor, though.
Right, but did the real mayor who got stuck in City Hall, did that turn into a media event? Were you sent to cover it?
I was not sent to cover it, but Dustin Gardner, who is my first credit in the acknowledgments, had a little closet-sized office because at the time he worked for the Arizona Republic and AZ Central, and so he covered City Hall. So he got the scoop because he was there. So thanks to Dustin, that was the.
I have some trouble figuring out that the mayor stuck in the elevator is actually a scoop. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, you know,
if you're in City Hall, that's the buzz that day, right? Did you hear the mayor got stuck in the elevator? So Dustin was working there. So
so that
it
was
wasn't
it.
like front page news. It was just, it was fodder. And I think at the time, the mayor ended up on KTAR talking about the experience and stuff. So it wasn't some big undercover expose. but it
No,
was
no, I
interesting.
know, but I mean, it seems like there were things that one could put one's attention to that were more provocative.
He
You
did.
know.
Dustin covered a lot of good, solid stories.
He did. Okay, you're defending Justin, right? Okay. Well, anyway, so that's one of the things that I think your book really highlights is what is news at this point. Is it the mayor stuck? Is it, does everything get equal weight? Is everything a click? Because it seems to me that it's getting harder to differentiate real news from any kind of news, and much of it. And I'm not talking about you or the book, but just in general. I read 3 newspapers every morning. And today, I might as well have set fire to my 30 minutes there, except for the bridgehand. I love the bridgehand. The rest of it, because there was one thing in the Arizona Republic I thought was really worth reading. But the rest of it, the Wall Street Journal, yeah.
It is very challenging, to put it nicely. I was really fortunate. Before I left about 4 months ago to work for the vice mayor, I was reporting for KJZZ, which is the public radio station here, which I know some of you are part of the book club. So thank you. Thank you, Erin. I was really fortunate because I was able to cover City Hall. And I would have stayed in local TV news, but no one wanted me to cover local government. And it was very frustrating because that's what impacts us most, right, on a daily basis, right? Our streets, our parks, our police, our fire. And I really was fortunate that I went to KJZZ and I was able to cover it for 9 years. And it certainly made an impact on me because my book is centered around City Hall.
No, it's very true. I do think the Republic has a couple of really good investigative reporters, Robert Englund, for example, and they really do try to dig into local issues, what's gone on in Gilbert, the copper mine. I could hardly believe the judge today that acknowledged that everything was going to be bad about the copper mine going to the Apache, whatever it is, the site, but he decided they still didn't make their case why he shouldn't keep the mine, after he said it'd be environmentally disastrous, it would destroy the Apache's sacred site, and it would use so much water in a state that doesn't have any one of which I would have thought was compelling enough to say, let's not do the mine. But then he said, no, they can go ahead because the plaintiffs didn't prove their case. I'm really glad I'm not a lawyer anymore. I'm serious. Because, I really don't understand that kind of thinking, but at least the paper reported it.
Yeah,
and
it's
maybe
so
something will come of it.
time-consuming and resource-heavy to tell important stories and to do investigations, and that's why there are so few, is because it costs money, right? You have to invest in people to spend months researching and talking to sources, and you've got these big companies going, what'd you do today? So
where does that leave us? Where does that leave the public with
Lord.
less and less information? No, I'm not putting you
I
on the
know,
spot. It's a
no,
rhetorical question.
I know.
But it's sort of hard for
we have
people
to take responsibility to find sources that are reputable, legitimate, that we can trust. And again, that's why I went to KJZZ, because I was covering City Hall there, and it was important. And I know that people appreciated it because I heard from them. And there are some outlets that out there doing that. We have to take it upon ourselves to find it and to support them.
Well, we definitely do. So I brought it up because Jolene is trying to cover a real story, but she gets sidelined by the mayor in the elevator.
And gluten-free cupcakes.
Yeah, and the gluten. Yes, that was the other one, the gluten-free cup. So she's supposed to investigate bakeries because the mayor's wife, right, is lactose intolerant. I can say I too am lactose intolerant.
Celiac disease.
Oh, is it celiac? Oh, it's gluten.
It's the gluten.
Sorry,
yeah.
right. Mine's dairy. Anyway, so Jolene is actually supposed to spend time going to various bakeries, and seeing if they're truly gluten free.
Yes,
and
yes.
how's she going to test that?
You send them to a lab. Barbara, that idea came to me when I first started here more than 20 years ago at a TV station in Phoenix. When I started here, there was a reporter, and he was like a big time reporter, and his assignment was, oh my God. I'm sure I'm laughing now, but at the time I thought this was like a serious story. His assignment was to investigate whether fat-free, I think they were, I don't know, cupcakes or something. It was a fat-free product at bakeries, whether they were really fat-free. And they got them and took them to a lab to see if they were really fat-free.
Okay. So, well, I found it interesting in the book because part of Jolene's, the tension in the book is Jolene trying to eke out time to actually pursue the real crime because she's being assigned to do these other kinds of stories. And also she's under constant pressure not to write them, but to post them. So is journalism to a great degree now camera driven? In other words, instead of going out to interview people, you're taking your camera with you and you're trying to get visuals to post?
Yeah, social media has just changed everything. I mean, so many industries have been changed, but oh my gosh, for local news, it's really something because there's kind of a push-pull. It's like people, and I'll talk about commercial TV and radio. So the audiences have declined, which means they can't make the revenue that they were making through commercials. And so where are people getting their information? And a lot of times it's social media, whether it's accurate or inaccurate. And so there's that push to get it out there on social because that's where people are. And then the other push has been to get people to like you and to relate to you more. And so there's sometimes a fine line. Like if you look at some social media posts, you're kind of like, should a reporter really be posting that? But if it goes viral or they get lots of likes or there's that interaction or engagement, as it likes to be called, then there's sort of a pat on the back. There was a TV station in town that at one point, and I'm only reporting this because it was a national news outlet that reported it and attributed it to a former employee at this local station that said there was internally sort of a competition about who could get the most interaction on social media. And so that kind of, like they would post it on, people would come in the newsroom and look on the wall to see like who had the most engagement. And so that kind of feeds you're not going to get engagement if you're like, the city council's going to vote to raise your water rates. You're not going to get the same engagement as if you post something outrageous, And so that's very...
Okay, so basically editorial oversight has gone out the door, right?
Well, I think every place is different, right? In commercial media, it's really tough because it's commercial media and it's a business. And audiences are declining and they're not getting the ad revenue, and so people are, what can you do? If you can't get advertising, then you have to cut.
Got it. So Jolene has gone through two of these cycles where she's, trying to balance fluff with actual stories. If you're going to continue her, are you going to have her change jobs just like you did?
I was a reporter, though, for long time, more than 25 years. I think I've been reporting here. See, I still talk about it in present tense.
Right.
I don't want to give away any spoilers, but the way the story that wouldn't die ends could lead to a change in Jolene's career.
Yes, it could. Right.
Or it could not.
or could not. Right. Okay. So, what is the actual crime? I mean, leaving aside, which I think is the crime, is investigating the cupcakes for gluten. I think that's the real crime of this book. But leaving that aside, what happens? And that relates to the other issue I thought was important, and especially important in Arizona, where developers have led almost everything. I mean, I first came here in 1950 when I was 10 years old, and city limit was 24th and Goldwater. There were 2 paved roads. Scottsdale wasn't incorporated. You had to ride a buckboard to the Camelback Inn from Terminal 1. There was nothing.
Terminal 1, that's been gone for a long time.
Refrigerated air conditioning came along, and cheaper housing, because swamp coolers didn't really do it, for development. And ever since then, we have been in a boom cycle with the occasional bust cycle. And there are no actual barriers to expansion, at least west. I mean, Phoenix could go all the way to the Colorado without running into a whole lot. You can't go east forever because the superstitions are kind of in the way. You can go south to Tucson. Probably can't go all the way north because it's going to run into the rim. But it's the largest city geographically now. Do you all know that Phoenix is larger than Los Angeles geographically? Who would believe that? So it's like a field day for developers, to build communities, do all kinds of stuff. And where there are developers, there's always money, and a lot of it is dirty money. And we know that's true in every city. So what's going on in your book?
I have a lobbyist for many developers. The lobbyist's name is Rich Gaines. Thank you.
Well done.
There's also a neighbor who's named Fred Nimby, and some people may not get that. Okay.
I didn't want to step on her name, so I didn't name them.
NIMBY stands for not in my backyard. That's often what people. So there is actually a very serious story thread about development and displacement, and that actually came from my real reporting at City Hall. In particular, there was probably about a 6-month period where every council meeting there were residents coming pleading for help because they lived in older established mobile home parks and they owned their homes but they paid rent for the lot, and so the property owners were ready to cash in because these were like infill. They were in central Phoenix, and so these residents would come because my goodness, you couldn't find anywhere else to live. And the council did what they could to help them, and there was some state help as well. But, I mean, they were uprooted, right? The kids were taken away from the schools where they have their friends, and it was a really difficult, obviously it stood with me, and it was very difficult because as a property owner, right, it's your right to do what you want with the property. And on the other hand, I mean, there's a humanity issue. Like, what happens to these people when there's nowhere else for them to go?
Well, it's not just residents. Have any of you read about the Phoenix Date Company? This has been 30 years here in Old Town, and I think you're going to see Old Town, the blocks of Main Street is going to change totally in the next 5 or 6 years because those landlords in those old buildings are starting to cash in. Most of them don't live here, so that building has been sold that they've been in for 30 years, and they have to find a new place. They're moving into what I think I have this right, the House of Rice, the old one over on Hayden or somewhere. And so, I mean, it's not a total tragedy and not children displaced or anything else, but it's been quite moving reading, how they feel about the fact that they've suddenly lost their home. We started out at the horse's ass wasn't there because the statue wasn't there in the middle of Marshall Way and Main Street.
Please explain that, because not everyone knows when you say horse's ass.
There's a statue of a horse now, but there wasn't when we were first there, and we were there's a 4-unit on the north side at the junction of Marshall Way and Main Street, right? And so we were in the second one, which was really tiny. It was about the size of this little area here. And then a couple of years in, we had an opportunity to move to the 4th unit, which was slightly larger. And I loved it because it was a mirror unit. So when you went into the old door, the door was on the right, and the blood tiles were in front of you, and the bookstore was that way. When we moved, the store was on the left, and everything was over here, and people would keep coming in, and they'd say, I just loved it. Oh, look, you changed the door. And I'd say, no, we moved the store. It was, it was great. I loved it. But the landlord died, and I could see that it was going to be a very difficult thing for his widow, who was quite elderly, to continue to do this. And we were going to need to move, which is how we got over here in 1999. And, it gradually went from a very small space here to take over the whole building. It's been a gradual process, but I remember how I felt when I realized that this little home that we had was going to go, that we weren't going to be able to keep it. So I really empathize with the Phoenix State Company people. And, it's just sort of constant. Did you read about the Scottsdale Quarter, the new people that bought it?
No.
So their goal, there are a lot of small businesses. Have you been to the Scottsdale Quarter up, where it is? Okay, so there were a lot of local businesses. All that the new owner's stated goal is to get rid of all of them and bring in high-end tenants. So, and right over here, and I'm making a speech, right over here at Goldwater and Marshall Way, in Indian School, you probably saw the gigantic empty lot, right? Okay. So I talked to them because I thought it would be interesting, since we don't have any parking, to see what they were planning to do, if they might have some event space or something. And they informed me that their lowest rent would be $65 a square foot. And I said, you do know that Fashion Square, the most successful mall in America with a high-end whatever, is right up the road. And they said, oh, no. She said, our people are from Los Angeles, and they will have even higher-end stores in this space here. So it's going to be useless for ordinary people. It'll be great for the high-end visitor, winter visitors. It'll be a useful space for maybe 3 or 4 months a year, and then it'll just sit there. Right. Like the shopping center that was up there by the boulders. They had to make all its money in 3 months while people were at the boulders, and then it moldered away in the summer. So that's what I mean, is that it's just there's nothing we can do to stop it, but I think we all have to be aware that both Phoenix and Scottsdale are changing irretrievably, like downtown Tempe. You can hardly recognize it from the way it was 30 years ago, and what's that going to mean for not just people in trailer parks that are, paid for their homes? What's that going to mean for businesses and regular people? I think it's, and you deal with that in your book. I think you had some really important things to say when Jolene is investigating this case.
Yeah, there's a lot of money for sure when it comes to development. And as Jolene is investigating, she's learning the process and some of the questionable behavior that she finds. And I will say that I tried to have, I don't know if it's a happy ending, because I think a happy ending would be that people are in their homes that they love, but I tried to make it not an awful ending.
No, it's not an awful ending. Actually, it's a very funny book. it doesn't sound like it the way I'm talking, but there's probably time to recalibrate here, Barbara. There's a lot. No, there really is a lot of funny stuff, but it's, it's not a cozy. It's not a mystery that's written just to be amusing. And I do think that you have some important things to say,
you.
But it's a lot of fun to read it. And I felt for Jolene, because there was never a moment where she had any downtime at all. Maybe, and her diet is appalling. How can, she's got to be in a constant sugar rush.
Oh my gosh.
She's eating cereal for dinner. The tater tot casserole. I tried to envision the tater tot casserole. It was like,
just
oh,
so you
come on.
know, I have eaten cereal for dinner not that long ago.
Well, everybody does, but not constantly.
Well, I don't cook, and so that was the easy part for me to write. Let me.
Oh, okay.
Jolene has
Autobiographical Jolene. Oh, okay.
But on the food subject, I was able to include some local restaurants that I love, that
Yes,
I've been
you
going
did.
to for a million years. Miracle Mile Deli, I've been going to for more than 20 years. When they were first in Christown, Mall. If
Yeah.
people remember that. Now they're on their third location, but there's, well, more than that. But Chino Bandito was a place
Oh,
where.
right.
Have you been?
I've heard of it. My husband goes to
Does
when he's
he?
not at Mrs. White's Soul Food. He's down there.
Well, you're
doing all
missing
that.
out because Chino Bandito is a great. It's so unique, and it's just, and Filiberto's, like Filiberto's is a rite of passage, right? You have to. Barbara, come on. You've
Listen.
never eaten Filiberto's?
I spend my life taking authors out to dinner, and if I'm not doing that, I'm trying to spend the occasional moment at home. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I don't
Oh,
I
I'm
don't get
so
to go
sorry.
exploring eating.
Okay.
However, I'm very well known in a set of restaurants right around the
You are,
bookstore.
you are.
I know. I have my own table in 2 restaurants. I actually do, really do. So,
it's reserved for Barbara Peters and her traveling authors.
now, it's part of the going on book tour is really hell for authors. I mean, they're in a different season. It's, and oftentimes by the time they're done, there's nothing but, like a vending machine or terrible room service at the hotel or
Well,
something.
in Phoenix, there's Filiberto's, so
Well, it's a long way from Scottsdale, but anyway, part of what I do is then, and people come for dinner. I'm not kidding when I say that. Lots of people come here because we have so much fun. We go out for dinner and all. Bookstore can't afford that, but I can, so it all works out. But on the occasions when I'm not doing that, I don't want to go anywhere. I mean,
I
truly.
get that. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just like, that's enough. And my husband, who's very patient, occasionally likes to see me. Right. So there we are. But anyway, Jolene has a terrible diet, but somehow or other she has enough energy to power through all this. But there's never a moment when she is not in action. So is that you, or is that the way you'd like to be, or was
This
that the
is
way you were when you
fiction.
were 20, or what?
No, I did pull on a lot of. So Jolene's 29 years old in the
Ah.
book, and that's kind of important because she's very driven. And I remember, oh my gosh, I look back at some things that I did as a 29-year-old. Well, one, thank goodness there wasn't social media. But as a reporter, I think today I was like, what an idiot I was. Like I put myself in sometimes dangerous situations just because I was so driven. And so Jolene is equally driven, but she's driven even more because really of her backstory, and she's searching for recognition she didn't get as a child. So she's very persistent as a reporter, but then there's also sort of a deeper reason why she just feels like she has to be the best reporter there is.
Plus, she's actually working for a guy whose idea of a story should be sexy.
Yeah,
I
his
mean,
nickname
every
is
story
Sexy.
needs to be sexy, so he's called Sexy. So that
Oh
would
my gosh,
that would
do you
be
know how
a
many
lot.
times I was, is this a sexy story? This story's not sexy enough. Ask anybody in commercial
Has
media. they've
anybody
heard that
defined
phrase.
what that means?
No. But I'll tell you what it is not. It is not a city council meeting, which is why I left.
Okay. Oh, no, it's about cupcakes. We still come back to cupcakes. Love it. All right. Okay. So are you going on book tour aside from your 3 appearances here locally, of which this is the first? And thank you. Where else are you going?
Wow, you're so good. I'm staying local because I love my local options here. And I have a new job that I did not plan to take time off for. I didn't know what it was going to be. And that's my plan, is to hit as many of the local places that are mentioned in the book.
Great.
Can I use this very quickly? Because I want to say, like, the restaurants that are mentioned in here are all like well established and places that are meaningful to me, except for one. I mean, it's meaningful to me, but it's not. It's a newer place. It's called Luana's Coffee and Beer, and they created a secret menu item based on the book.
Did they?
They did.
Oh, that is so
and there's
nice.
a whole, like, when you read the part that has to deal with Luana's, just keep in mind that was me and my personal issues that I worked out in that book. They're in a location that used to be a restaurant that I loved. And so I like held it against them for a long time, and I wouldn't go in there because I was like, it used to be where Mushu Grill was. And I was like, mm-mm. And the owners are very kind, and they have a great place, and they created a secret menu item.
I think that's wonderful. Now, it's important to notice that she doesn't kill anybody in any of the restaurants. Once again, speaking as a lawyer, it's a really bad idea to take a real place and then, commit a crime in it. So good job there. Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Right. So do you want to take questions from the audience? Do you want to conduct your, what are we doing here? It's a game.
It's a word search.
It's a
that's
word
related
search.
to the book.
Oh.
What word can you not find? In Canto Park, did anybody do it and find it? I know it's there. Ooh,
Spoiler.
that's pretty good. That's all right. No.
That's
I'm
okay.
impressed. Like,
I've detoured it. You might as well take your turn. Why not?
so I actually have some giveaways for those who want to play. But before we do that, does anybody have any questions? I don't want to not take any questions if anybody has them. I will repeat the questions. Thank you so much. Yes.
I just want to know if the secret menu item is like a speakeasy. Like, do you have to walk in and say, I read the book? Like, what do we do to find out about the secret menu?
Good question, because you're looking up Luana's right now. It's by Phoenix College, 15th Ave. Thomas. Do you know?
That's my alma mater. So
Well, oh my gosh. Yeah. So you remember when it was Mushu Grill? Were you devastated, or was that just a little?
because I was moved to a different part of the
Okay.
city by then. But I totally get your, like, I have that issue with Mary Corliss.
Yeah.
So
So
find out about the secret menu.
the question is, how do we find out about the secret menu? When you read the book, it will be really obvious what the menu is. So you don't have to go and do a song and dance. You can mention the book if you don't remember what the secret menu item is. It's very easy. It's a number. That's all I say, and I shouldn't have even said that. Okay. Any other questions? I can never keep a secret. Okay. If anybody wants to be eligible for a wonderful prize, please make sure that you get a sticky note that's on the back. Mark is being very helpful, so if you did not get one and you would like a sticky note, please raise your hand and Mark will bring you one. Thank you. And then Mark, will you please tell me what the number is? Or show me? Thank you, Mark. 26. Okay, so I'm going to call a number between, no, I'm not, Barbara. Barbara can pick one. Barbara's going to pick a number between 1 and 25, and then it's a multiple choice. Nobody's meant to feel weird, so it'll be fairly easy, and if you don't want to play, you don't have to play. So Barbara, please pick a number between 1 and 25.
13.
13. 13, do you want to play? Okay. Ooh, I forgot to mention this. So in addition to cereal,
Actually, the tater tot casserole that got me. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Jolene also likes, but you don't like Filiberto's. She goes to Filiberto's and orders carne asada fries, which is kind of a comfort food for her. So just keep that in mind, people. Okay. Which local business, this is for you, number 13, which local business is not in the story that wouldn't die? I'm going to give you 3 choices. Which is not in the new book? Miracle Mile Deli, Luana's Coffee and Beer, Chicago Hamburger Company. You got it! Woohoo! Chicago Hamburger Company was actually an off the air. And the owner was so kind that he has donated a $40 gift certificate. Wow. So it's yours now. Yay!
I
know,
assume
very
it's a gift certificate to the Chicago Hamburger
yes,
Company.
to the Chicago Hamburger Company. Yeah, I know, he's super. I'm going to choose a number. How about, then I'll let you pick the next one. 11. Mary! Uh-oh. Mary's not going to win this book because that's her mom. She does not want to. Okay, Mary. What's a favorite comfort food for Jolene? Is it mashed potatoes, carne asada fries, or macaroni and cheese?
Carne asada.
You were listening. All right. So I have a beautiful bookmark and a magnet, but there's a rated G one or rated R. Everybody's saying R, but I feel, it's not like there's no nudity. Like it's not rated R like that. But I don't want to pressure you. You teach kindergarten, right? Yes, you can. There you go. It's a sweet bookmark and a. You can show it in class with pride. Okay, so the next one's going to get the rated R. So if you don't want a rated R magnet, this does not have to do with the book. It kind of does, but not really. So there is a huge hidden Easter egg in there for Murder, She Wrote fans. So if you're a huge Jessica Fletcher fan, like you have to be so hardcore. I had to look it up. So if you find it in there, please tell me because I don't know if anybody's going to catch it. But that's not this question. Here's the question. You want to pick 1 through 25, but not the 2 we already picked that I forgot?
3.
Number 3. Does number 3 want to play? Michael. Okay, Michael. What's the name of the town where Jessica Fletcher lived? Is it Death Valley, Moline, or Cabot Cove? Yes. Michael will appreciate the rated R magnet and bookmark. You don't. I can bring it to you after. I know you don't.
Can I just see the magnet?
Of course.
It's sassy. I need to know. I love it.
I'm glad. I would have been disappointed if you were like, oh, that's not good. Okay, the last question. Barbara, what number, please?
23.
23? Does 23 want to play? Yes? Okay. Who got stuck in the elevator at City Hall? Was it Jolene, the mayor, or a city council member? Mayor. Yay, everybody got it. And I'll bring you the book, but I do want to say Allison Brennan, New York Times bestselling author who also lives here in the Valley, was kind enough to donate this book, which is coming out in September. Don't Say a Word is the second in her Angel Heart Investigation series, and it is also set in Phoenix. It's really great. So you're getting this before it's even publicly available. So thank you so much, Allison. And thank you all very, very much. I really appreciate it. And I don't want to end anything unless you're ready to end anything. Should we check online or no? Now that I mentioned checking online, if there's no questions, I'm gonna feel
Patrick,
like
do
a
we have
loser.
any questions from the online audience? He usually pops out if he has them.
He might be eating all the fudge bars because he had one that he liked.
Probably talking to Stefania.
Oh, yes, because he's
Right.
online responding to people as
Right.
they're commenting and stuff. Yes.
Anything?
What would you say Jolene thinks, or maybe what do you think is the best thing about local TV news?
Oh, my gosh. Wow. What would Jolene think? I mean, well, Jolene's lucky because she is able to sometimes cover stories that she's passionate about that she thinks really makes a difference. And so, I mean, in this story and then in Off the Air, she did pursue stories that led to some changes and had some impact. So definitely it's about being able to make an impact on the community. It's just not as often as she would like it to be.
Well, she's
Thank you.
torn between keeping her job, keeping sexy happy, and actually pursuing real news. And that's where most of the tension in the book comes from, is that trying to balance, those two things together.
Yes, absolutely. It
All
is
right,
a tough
Patrick,
balance. I
you
know
said you
Patrick's
had a
gonna
couple of things emerge.
You're up, Patrick.
All right. By the way, those Berto places, anything with Berto, you got to be careful.
I actually explained that in the book, and I was like, Filiberto's. Filiberto's is the original, and
Endless ones, right?
yes, there's Julio Berto's and Roberto's and everything.
Adalberto's.
Patrick Berto's.
I got sick of one of those. That's what I'm saying. Let's see. Robin would like to know, what is your favorite Scottsdale restaurant?
Where are you going for dinner?
Oh my gosh, Robin! I told Barbara this. I don't know if she remembers. Like, I really am never in Scottsdale, except for the Poison Pen. One day you were like, it's just over here, and I was like, Barbara, I don't know my way outside of like if I come here and leave. Oh my gosh, I don't have a favorite Scottsdale. What's yours? I'll think of it later.
No, I can't say. No. I would lose my
Robin.
table. Right.
Robin, thank you for playing. Let me think about it. I'm so sorry. I know I've eaten at places that I like here. I'm very like kind of low. I don't like fancy stuff. clearly. The cereal bar.
I got one for you. In your reporting career, what were maybe one or two of the strangest stories that you covered? Putting you on the spot. Anything real?
Lord. Okay, so Patrick's question is, what are a couple of strange stories? And you know what? I know two that I can share because I use them sort of as examples of me covering a variety of things. And one was witnessing one was witnessing an execution by lethal injection in Arizona. So that was quite an experience. And then the other, completely opposite, was covering a blowfish that went to the dentist.
Say that again.
Oh my gosh, that was at a Scottsdale restaurant too. There was a
Oh Lord, no wonder she doesn't eat here.
It's closed now, but it was in Old Town, and it was the pink place, but there was a blowfish in there and its teeth had like closed. Like it couldn't eat. So the blowfish got put in a bucket and went to the dentist, and the dentist would like pull it out of the bucket, drill, put it back in, pull it out, drill. Yeah, it was a great story, I thought. Like nobody else.
Did the blowfish survive?
Yes. I mean, I don't know for how much
A
longer,
toothless blowfish. I know.
it was able to eat. Yeah. Thank you for that.
That certainly has to
Yes,
be a winner.
I think Sexy would have liked that one.
Well, it's up from cupcakes, so you know.
What's next?
Well, I was going to have some cereal tonight for sure. You know what? I'm very torn about what's next for Jolene, and I don't want to give the ending away, but I'm very unsure about I know this sounds like cheesy and whatever, just not cheesy. It sounds geeky maybe and weird because I very much care about Jolene. Like she's a character, but to me, she's kind of a real person, and so a big thing happens to her, and I'm not sure what's going to happen to her after this. So it doesn't mean it's awful. Like, I don't mean to be Debbie Downer. I just am like, I don't have a what's next. Like, I know she's going to do this. I'm like, oh, I don't know if she's going to do this or do this. So.
You left her in an interesting place, is what you're saying.
Thank you,
Did
Patrick.
leave
You
her
said
in
that
an
much better.
interesting place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, life is a series of choices, and for every choice you make, you close a door. You open a door, but you close other doors, and so, you know, that's where she is.
It's been interesting. I've heard from early readers who, of course, it's mixed, right? Some want this to happen and some want this to happen, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know
Well,
what's
it
gonna
is a
happen.
spoiler. You can tell Jolene survives. Everybody else may die in the book, but Jolene is still with us, right? No. But I mean, you know, in series we do. It's like Cabot's Cove. You know, you get. I mean, at some point, you know, there couldn't have been a single person standing in Cabot Cove except Jessica Fletcher, right? In a series, the reader does expect that the lead character will survive to, you know, do something
Yes.
something else. But everything else, except the dog, everything else is at risk. Pets generally are not. But in a standalone, we've had that discussion with lots of authors here. You put them through their paces, you make their life difficult, and then you leave them. You've punished them enough, and you leave them to get on with things. So you're kind of in a place where you can decide whether to write more Jolene or write something else, or just give her a vacation. You know, see what
She could go find a Scottsdale restaurant that she likes.
with the blowfish. I love this. Now everywhere I go, I'm going to be looking for a fish tank. Oh, Lord. What was it? Was the Pink Adobe? Was that here? No, that's
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anybody else have a question here in the audience? Yes, ma'am.
Do you have in mind what the tipping point will be where you give up your day job and move in with Jolene? You have,
I love that you.
what that's going to be.
So Deb says, "Do I have a tipping point where I quit my day job and move in with Jolene?" I love how you think I have to move in with Jolene because I will not be financially independent. We can fight over cereal and carne asada fries. I do not. I really do love my new job, and it's tough to make a career as a full-time author. So insurance, health insurance is a
long
good thing.
way from that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I just like thinking ahead of time. Do you know what it's going to take for yourself to know? It's like when this A happens, then yes. That,
I don't have like a set like
of writing, yeah.
a set number or anything. I just figure I will be grateful to have a job that I enjoy, that I have health insurance and be able to write. Like I know that doesn't sound very like, I don't know. I'm not,
Seven-figure advance.
Patrick says a 7-figure advance. Yeah, that might make me reconsider. Yeah.
Health insurance is actually a major thing. There are kind of group things that I think the Authors Guild. Anyway, I mean, writers are really out there without a safety net. You know, they don't. So it's a pretty risky thing to give up a job that has benefits and write full time.
Especially if you like it. Yes, Erin.
I have a question, maybe off the topic, but since you're mostly doing local promotions, have you thought about, or have you already started looking at going to book clubs, either online or meeting with any of them, or is that not worth your time, or you don't have the time because you're so busy? Because I know there's a lot of book clubs that
Look at, oh my gosh, I'm going to share Erin's story because it's almost like I set her up, which I did not. Erin asked if I would be available to do like book clubs because so many are online. Yes, I would love to. Yeah, well, local or online. Yeah, I mean, thank you, KJZZ Book Club member, for asking that question. Yes.
Anyone else? Well, in that case, thank you all. Did you have anything else you wanted to do? Give away? Are we done?
I think that's it. I gave four.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 4
well,
questions.
I have
yes.
things to give
Oh,
away,
well,
so we'll
geez
move to me.
Louise.
Right? Did we have numbers out there? Right? If you
Well,
hold on
yeah,
to
we have
the
the sticky notes, 1 through
right.
25, but
Okay,
we can't call
so
3, 11.
No, I'll remember that. I'm good with that.
Okay.
I know. Sorry. So I have 2 books I want to give away. These
Ooh,
are
that one's a
advanced
good
reading
one.
Copies. This one is written by the former First Lady of Iceland, and it is set on the island of Hime, which is Iceland adjacent. And it's a debut fiction. She wrote a memoir. We were lucky enough to debut her memoir, and then she was actually here from Iceland for Death on the Island, and I hung on to my advanced reading copy for some reason or other. Anyway, trapped on a remote island by a howling storm, 9 people sit down to dinner. Only 8 people will finish. Ooh. So I'm going to pick number 8. Oh, it's you, the table guy, the girls back there, right? They're so cute. They come early and they they keep the table. I think so.
Oh, wait, on the stickies. I'm sorry.
What if you got your, yeah, I was using the stickies.
Okay.
Right, so I will give this to you afterward. All right, and then
Oh my gosh.
you probably want this one, don't you? I know. Sorry.
Pick number. What do I have?
Right, so another Emmy-winning, 37 Emmy-winning television reporter and wonderful person, Hank Philippi Bryan, has a new book out in September called All This Could Be Yours. She is signing copies for us, and we're going to do a Zoom event on October 6th. We already worked that out. And it's a thriller, but Hank and I probably don't agree on this. I call it kind of a soft thriller because there's no like serial killer or, terrible thing going on. But it's about a woman, an author who's on a whirlwind book tour for her bestseller. And
I hate her.
In a different city every night, she gets standing ovations, but she also has somebody that stands up and asks her very difficult questions that might lead to her whole life imploding. So it's really
Wow.
very clever. Right. So you get to pick a number this time.
15.
Yay! There you
Oh my
are.
gosh.
Okay, so I will deliver those 2 books.
Great,
Wonderful.
Simone. I'm going to borrow that from you. No, I'll buy mine. I love Hank.
I'm
Hank's
pretty
been
sure
very
I have
supportive of
another
me.
one. I'll go look for you. Anyway, thank you all very much for coming. Let's give Christina a
Thank
round
you
of
so
applause.
much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And I want to thank KJCC. I want to thank Nathan, who's here from KJCC, for your book club attendance. And we have some other.
Oh, Nathan wants to do a giveaway.
Oh, okay. All right.
One last one.
Don't move while Nathan
Wow.
gets a giveaway.
Jeez.
And the book club is next coming on September 18th, when we have 4 thriller writers, all of whom are super, including we will have a preview of the new Vince Flynn, the new Mitch Rapp book, because the guy writing it is going to come as well. Oh, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, look, a book bag. How nice.
Gina Bridgman?
Oh,
She's here. I know
Gina.
she's here. I saw her. How lovely.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you, Nathan. Wonderful. This is where we have to ask you to move the furniture. So if you would fold up your